Alright, so welcome back. So today what we're going to talk about is start actually creating our form. So our forms throughout this form are going to be really easy. There's just going to be two mainly supported. It's either multiple choice, maybe check boxes, because they're really similar multiple choice check boxes, and input type. Because these are the easiest to represent as well. And notice that I just executed this. Whoops, I just executed this command from the terminal. Python 3 manager start app form. You just create a new app called form for us. And then once you do that, remember the first thing you need to do is go to settings, install app, make sure you add this name, form. I use sometimes capital to represent like maybe this is really important. Or multi-word, but it's not really multi-word. And in URLs, this is gonna be pass form include form.urls. And finally here, whoops, not in it. In here, I'm gonna create in the new form directory created. I'm gonna create urls.py. Here I'm just gonna say from Django.urls import pass. Import pass from dot import views. URL patterns. It goes to this. Alright, so now here's the ideas. So basically what's going to happen today, we're going to just input like a text-based form only. So like user can input anything ready to type their text. Excuse me. So it's going to be not that complicated, but it's going to be a little bit complicated to do it in the front end. So the idea is you will have a button that you'll be able to click to add more questions. And yeah, and then you can choose what kind of question you can add, basically. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So in here, I'm just going to go ahead and create a templates folder. And form, you know what? I'm gonna actually just gonna restart the whole same name in lowercase. It's gonna be a little bit complicated to work with if it's uppercase. Alright, there we go. Yeah, stop high. Alright, much better. Okay, so about that. Pattern. Okay. Great. Now, what we're going to do is that. So let's go and close this indication, close these settings, close this with street. Okay. So let's go ahead and say this. All right. So let's go create a folder then. I'll just call this form, and here let's go create a base.html. By the way, I also added a few more features, a couple more features actually, such as be able to log in with your email as well as your password, not as well as your username, and then be able to log in, be able to like for verification. You can verify your password, which we did, and you can choose to forget your password. You can take a look detail in the GitHub repository, which I will leave a link to the description down below. Okay, so now we're going to do a quick template inheritance. And the template inheritance is going to be really simple. We are actually just going to copy this syndications templates. And if you recognize it, this is standard bootstrap template for some front end dealing. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So what's going to happen first is this. We're going to go create a new file, and the file is going to be named as create.html. And then here, I'm just going to say, okay, let's go extend from authentication, from form slash base.html. Block title. You can see I actually have a few blocks here as well. So block title. Block title is for just for the title of this HTML web page. General template. And block main is where you will write actual HTML code. Alright, so let's go and get started. By the way, I completely unplanned this video, so if there's any mistake, please bear with me. Okay, so now we're just gonna go to urls.py as well as views.py to out the first URL. So let's go ahead and define create. And in here, what we're going to do right now is just render our request and authenticate and its form slash create.html. That's all we're gonna do because we're gonna focus on the front end first. Let's go run this page. See if everything works. So now it's still gonna say not found, but if I go to slash form slash create, let's see. Oh, I didn't add it here. Yeah. So here I had to say this create views.create. Alright, so got the form. Good. Alright, so now let's go start to create. So first of all, we need a button. That can be add a new question. So here's how it's gonna happen. So we're just gonna create a new button. Type is all gonna be a button as well. And here we're just gonna need to say this. And then I'm gonna give a class button primary. This is just a bootstrap some style to make it look a little bit nicer. Here I'm just gonna say create a new question. Create a new question. And let's see. So, but there's some few metadata the user need to fill out. All we really need for now is just this. So, input type equals text. It's basically the form name. And in here we could just say input type text name equals form name. Placeholder is form name, and class is form control. Form control. So it's going to take a refresh. Take a look at refresh and okay, there we go. So create a new question. So what's gonna happen then? It's gonna be able to let them to create a new series of questions. But first of all, let's take a look. What would that be look like? So you might be need to wrap. So what will happen is if you haven't created Google form before, I'm gonna show a quick Google form. So that's server that's going to mimic, which obviously not is going to be what's happened. So you can see this is how it will look like, where you can edit. And then here you can click on Add button. And for now, it's just automatically going to be short answer. So it's going to be something like this. Maybe not even drag and drop. Drag, so change position, because I'm not sure how to do that. If you guys know, please let me know, because then I can incorporate it, or you can just incorporate it on your own. So then here we're gonna do something like this. Notice that they have a place they can enter the prompt, and that's like the minimum part of it. And yeah, so let's take a look. So basically, then what we're going to do is this. Let's just go and say input type equals to text. A name is gonna be an automatically generated integer, I think. Or something. Name equals 1 for now, for the example. And in here, then we can say something like this. We can say placeholder equals to placeholder equals to enter your question prompt. Here. And then in here, then we can just say, and then let's go refresh from control. Of course, we can add a BR at the end. Enter question prompts. Okay. And then in here, maybe then you can just say something like this. Short answer text. So maybe I could just use italic. So short answered text. Okay, so this, and then we're gonna go create a little border as well instead. So maybe we can just say style equals to border. 1 pixel solid black. Let's see what's gonna happen. 1 pixel solid black. Let's go apply some margin as well. Nothing should apply to here. Okay, I'm gonna fix margin a little bit. This is like how it's gonna be look like basically. So whenever I declare create question, it's gonna be able to prompt them create a question. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and do something like this. And then they cannot remove question for now. But we'll see how to implement that because that's obviously the thing we need to implement, be able to remove question. Maybe not replace the order of the question because that's something a user can really manipulate on their own. Okay, so enter your question prompt here, and then there should be also another button. And then here, just gonna say button success. Gonna say submit. Create this. Okay, so basically what's then gonna happen. Yes, well, we're already like 16 minutes in already. Okay, so create a new question, and then basically this button gonna have an onClick attribute, and then I'm gonna define some JavaScript. You define some JavaScript. So in here, basically gonna say function create new question. All right, create new question. What's then gonna happen is we're just gonna go ahead and create this question. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and create this question. And then in here, maybe I wrap them into another div. So this div specifically for like all these question div. All right, then I'm gonna give it ID question div. Questions div. Questions is good enough. And then in here, basically just gonna say var div equals to document.create elements div div dot set attribute style gonna be this. We could just copy, paste it right here, add a style, and in here just going to say div inner HTML equals to I'm gonna have a variable called question count, so we just know how many questions we got. Question count equals to 0. Here we might be able to say question count as their name that we can do and get. Do we have anything else? Anything else as we need to do? Okay. Maybe append this as well. And then we here can just say document.append child. No, document.get element ID questions append child. And in here, as always, we're just gonna do question count plus plus. I'm not sure if this work. I'm not real good at scope, but I hope it's gonna work. And here I'm just gonna associate this when you unclick this. I'm gonna associate with this create new function of create a new question function. Just click, 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 click. All right, looks good. Let's take a look at the HTML file. Okay, just automatically refreshed. It's fine. Let's take a look. Container questions. All right. You got name 1, name is 0, name is 1 again. What is going on here? Because I have this. Or by default, I should have this. Create new question. To a question prompt here. Question prompt here. Question prompt here. As well as seeing here, I'm just gonna say. Yeah, okay, for now it's fine. I want to actually do BR. Let's see how tell me. Can I just do this? Does it create BR? Nope, this doesn't create a BR. Okay, let's see. I want to create a line break. To create a line break, how can I do that? So we're just gonna say this. Of our BR, document create element, just create another element called BR. And then in this case, after we append div, I'll just append BR. This is a quick fix. So I refresh again. Create a new question, there we go. Okay, so then if we take a look, we know those tres, 1, 2, 3 in Spanish. Let's see. Okay, number 2, number 1, number 0. Okay, so then the user can type whatever their question prompt is here. Okay, and then when they click on create this form, it's also going to be a button because we're gonna create another function. It's called submit form. Submit form. And here, just gonna say onclick is submit form. Okay, so in here, what's gonna happen is we're gonna say document.get element by ID. So this form, they're all like a form, right? So I have to wrap everything into a form just to make it a form. So every information actually gets submitted. Okay, and then the method obviously gonna be post. What's gonna happen is we're gonna give an ID, so we can manipulate JavaScript in here. So Java, it's just gonna be a form because I don't have one form, so I'm just gonna use ID form. And here I'm just gonna say this. So comment this line out really quick, and then I'm gonna create another element called input equals to document create element input. Input dot set attribute. Type is hidden. And then here maybe we could say, okay, see this room I said don't finish. Yeah, semicolon D and everything. And the input dot set attribute. Gonna also set attributes, basically set HTML attribute. And the name is just going to be question count. And then let's go set a value as well. And the value for this is just going to be question count. Okay. So basically we got this question count, so we know how many questions there are. Just in case we need it. I'm not sure do we really need it. But in here, then I can say this. Then Pen child, that's input. Then I can say documents, get submits. Should be able to work. So let's take a look. I'll just say example form, create a new question, hi, create this form. Alright, CSRF failed, great, because then our form is actually get submitted. So CSRF token. Okay, so there's still some time. I'm going to see how much can I implement for the backend. So this is basically entirely front end. And now let's go ahead and do the backend. So in here, just gonna say if request.method equals to post. Now, of course, I mean you just pass for now. Otherwise, let's just return this random function. Okay, so what I want to do now is basically when a form got created, it says if this is an input field, then okay, so now let's go to models.py because model is really important. And then model is gonna be this. Class input field. And then in here, I'm just gonna say models and model. Notice don't confuse you with the Django split form. These are not Django split form. All right, so you got an input field, and basically what's gonna happen in here is gonna create like our own, unless we can work with Django form somehow. But we're not just gonna create our own. So labels gonna equals to models dot char field. Max length, so 100. So this is maximum length that a label can have. And then here I'm also going to create a form. Models.model. And basically this is going to associate a request string together. So in here I'm going to get question ID. And then question ID going to be integer field. Integer field. Okay, so basically the reason we design like this is first we have an input field, right? And then the user need to fill out this label here. And now what's gonna happen is that it's gonna after this new instance created, we're also gonna create a form as well, and it's gonna associate with this form right here. Okay, so let's take a look. So then here you could just say from dot models import form input field. Again, I'm just working with input field today, so we don't need to worry about multiple choices just yet. And then let's go and run make migrations. We could change the model later if you feel it doesn't make sense anyway. You really need to create a label beforehand because then we can work with it. So in here, oh shoot, Sierra make a mistake. We have a name, right? And then no, it's not like that. We need to reference it by this question form ID by individual question. So models.integer field. Alright, so name equals to models.char field, max length, also 100. Alright, let's remigrate again. Alright, just to fix that issue when you try to remigrate stuff, you can have whatever there since we didn't create anything. So you can, the integer I usually write 0, but because there's no ID gonna be 0, since every ID gonna count start 1. Since we didn't create any row yet, migrate. Alright, so now let's go ahead and take a look how it's gonna happen. Okay, so basically then I'm gonna have a loop. For I in range of int to intinify something, and it's gonna be request.post question count. Question count is the thing that can be intinified, quote unquote. So change it to an int. So I just want to loop through for this given amount of time. And for now, what we can do is this. For then in here, we can just say input field label equals to. So we need to create a form first. So we need to create a form first. Let's see. Form name is just going to be request.post name. And then let's go save it. And then let's say form objects.get request. I'm not sure is there a way that you can actually get user ID directly and save a form. Not sure can like save a model. I'm not sure can do that. So I have to like manually select it back. And they're gonna do -1 in reverse order because this should be the latest one that we got. And then this is F for forms. Okay, let's see. All right, so now in here, we're gonna do something like this. We're just gonna say input field, and then label we're gonna give as request dot post bracket I. Field, and then form ID after ID. Let's receive as a save. All right, input field is done. So. And then let's just take a look how would this work out. Okay, and then return HTTP response. For now, I'm just gonna say success. And let's see, is it smart enough to figure out? Now I'm just gonna write on my own. Django.http import HTTP response. Now HTTP request, HTTP response. All right, so let's take a look how would it work. First of all, make sure we don't have any syntactical error. We don't. Let's take a look then. Form name, demo form. Create question, what's your name? What's your name? And then, how are you? Done. Create this form. And I got a multi-tick error says name. Let's see. Oh, the name is not named. Form have a name. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, so it's not name. Form hyphen name. I got the ID wrong. Alright, let's do a quick refresh. Demo form. What's your name? Create this form. Form object is not subscribable. That filter. It's that filter because filter can return us a lot of objects. So then we can script it. And then, because let's say demo form. What's your name? Create this form. Multi-tick 0, key 0. Just sternify this. I'm not sure, I'm just purely guessing now. Demo form. Because like it's an integer. Because I is an integer, so maybe we need to sternify it. What's your name? Oh, see now it's not work. Okay, so it's gonna let's take a look. Not gonna worry about rendering the form. Let's go visualize our database. Form input field, and then you can see it's associated with form number 3. And then form number 3 is this. Alright, so what I guess I will do in the next video is show you how could you actually like view the form. with a form in a certain format. Not in a certain format, but just like your form, you can actually fill out the form, and then maybe create a dashboard page, because this is like one of the most basic form. And um, and I was thinking, should I do a delete form? Maybe not. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's it for this video. We accomplished a lot. We talked about front end, JavaScript. How can we use a print child? We'll also talk about backend, how to designing some database like this, SQL models. Not that complicated, but it's gonna get a little bit more complicated when we have multiple choice, because then there's your choice going to be an individual ID. You're gonna have individual ID. Then it's gonna associate to each individual question. Then the question gonna associate with the form. That's gonna be a little bit complicated, but don't worry, not gonna worry about that just yet. But again, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below. I'm gonna respond to every comment. And thanks for watching. If you like it, please like and subscribe. I will put some resources link down in the description down below. And thanks for watching. This is the third time saying this, and see you next time. Bye bye. Whoops.